next. Okay. All right. So we are going to start. Um, so this meeting is being recorded at this point, so that you guys are aware. Once again, I'm Amanda Payne. I am the founder of Nurses in Tech, as well as your host for today. We are talking to Miss Jennifer Knipe. I always say it wrong, so I was a little hesitant to say it, but she can correct me. I'm really excited to talk to Jennifer today. Jennifer has been a member. Well, I met Jennifer way back in the beginning of Nurses in Tech, which was all the way back in like January, y'all.
Yeah.
And she is one of my, you know how we have this thing called ride or dies. I call Jennifer one of my ride or dies. She's been with me a long time. Really excited to chat with her today because she has an array of experience in nursing, as well as in what we all want to talk about is technology. So I am going to let her introduce herself, tell us what she thinks is important about her nursing journey and how she got here, and then we'll get started with our topic today.
Thank you, Amanda. You all hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, again, my name is Jen, and I'm based out of like north of Atlanta, about 45 minutes north of Atlanta, but I've been a nurse for 25 years, so long time. And 18 years of that, I have been in healthcare technology in various different roles. And when I was a bedside nurse, I was in pediatrics. I worked for Children's Healthcare of Atlanta for a number of years. And my love, like if I were to ever go back, would be PACU. I absolutely love being a PACU nurse. And I wanted to be a CRNA. That's the goal that I was striving for. And at the time, this was 2005. We were getting ready to go live with Epic. This was brand new version of Epic, had not even been released yet. And there was a lot of pushback from the nurses as well as the providers and physicians. And so I volunteered to be one of their super users and one of their trainers. And that's how I got into all of this. It just fell into my lap. I didn't mean for it to, but I would apply to a number of different CRNA schools. I had been making my rounds in all the ICUs because that's one of the requirements. So I was in CICU, PICU, NICU, but they needed adult ICU and I hadn't done adult ICU yet. So I put my resume out to apply for an adult ICU position, and my resume was sitting out there and all of these tech companies saw it and started contacting me. And because I had Epic experience, and plus McKesson from a previous role at another hospital. So that's how I got into all of this. And I started out in pre-sales. I was doing a lot of their demos. So I was like, they always need that clinical expert whenever you're doing any kind of software demos because you're the one that actually knows all the workflows. So that's how I got into it. And it I can't even tell you how the number of things that I've done, but it just catapulted my career. I did product management for a number of years. I got into content writing like Bree. I actually did patient education content and worked for a company called Crane Staywell and kind of led their medical review process. And so I did that for a number of years. I did clinical informatics for a number of years. I got into implementations, and I was a consultant for doing implementations, and then also got into education and training. So a lot of this did come about though from me just discovering, okay, what are my strengths and my skill set while I'm in this, and then also what do I have passions in doing. So that's kind of how I just kept up leveling my career, was actually based on my passions and my skills. So that's the main thing I really want to talk to y'all about today.
Yeah. And before, I thought you were getting ready to segue. I was going to say, hold on a minute, don't segue yet. Don't do it.
Yeah.
So what I love about Jen is she is like she said, not afraid to learn something new and do something new. So therefore, she has an array of experience. Anybody got any questions for Jen about her background, her journey thus far, before we go into the topic for today? Nope. Okay. All right. So I have had the luxury of working with Jen, and I don't know if this is the uncovering of her business, Nursing 2.0, which is where she works with nurses, seasoned nurses that want to understand how they can redefine their nursing pathway and nursing career based on their own passions and their own skills. And so one of the things that we're going to talk about is something that I find very unique to Jennifer and her methodology of working with nurses, because I had never heard it before. And so let's go into Jen explaining to us, how do you, we hear a lot of people talking about going to help you create the life that you want based off of your skills and your passion. And everybody literally says, I want a job that aligns with my passion. And like, does anybody even really know what that means? Nobody knows what that means. Because if you're like me, I got a lot of things that make me passionate, okay? We can talk about, creating communities. I'm passionate about that. We can talk about tearing down legal structures. I'm passionate about that. I don't know if that's one of my God-given passions or not. But if you get me to talking about institutional healthcare, that's a passion. Okay. Like, what is really a passion? Is it like this little seeded thing that God put inside us or somebody put inside us? How do you find it? How do you touch it? How do you know that it is it? Is it more than one passion? Is it only one? Help us out, Jen. I know I need help.
Yeah. So what I have actually found is most nurses are multi-passionate. Like, that's just part of being a nurse. And I think too, it also is we naturally are empathetic and intuitive. It just comes with being a nurse. I think to be a nurse, you have to have that passion to want to care for people. It's just, I mean, unless you're like one of those nurses who's just like, I have to be a nurse because my mom was a nurse, But I would say the majority of people that go into nursing, they're doing it because they have a passion for helping people, and they're very empathetic people and intuitive people. And when you are that type of person, you're going to have many different passions. And that's one of the things that I know I've found is I just want to do so many things. There's just so many things in nursing that I've wanted to do throughout my career. And I think once you get into becoming a seasoned nurse in the hospital or, anywhere that's, a staff nurse, that is when, you suffer the burnout, you suffer the being undervalued, or you start to ask, there's got to be more than this. And that's when you start to ask the questions. And this is kind of where I've uncovered some different tools and methodology that can really help you determine like who you really are inside of yourself and what you want to bring to the table as a clinician.
Yeah.
And so I've got a few methodologies
tell us how you help nurses do that. And I don't know if anybody caught it when I said seasoned nurses. So I'm going to ask you to clarify for us what a seasoned nurse is, because I don't know. I might not be a seasoned nurse. I've only been a nurse for like 14 years. So
no, you're definitely seasoned. What I consider a seasoned nurse is, a nurse the nurses that's been there, done that. You have been a staff nurse, or, and there are nurses that come out of nursing school that don't go straight into the hospital, and maybe you do ambulatory or you work in a doctor's office, or you do care management, or, you have a certain route. But if you've been a nurse for a number of years, 2 or 3 up, and you're starting to become more of a, more mid-level or senior level type of nurse, where you are now maybe doing resource nursing and maybe some leadership roles. That's what I would consider a seasoned nurse.
Yeah. So I'm a seasoned nurse, and I say, I have been doing this because if you ask me, I tell everybody 14 years in nursing is like geriatric age, physically. Okay, so at that point, okay, you need to be finding you something else to do in the latter parts of your nursing career if you want to have function of your body that you can enjoy without a pain or an ache. Okay. So I'm a seasoned nurse and I come to you and I'm like just trying to figure this career out. How do you help me?
Yeah.
How do you bring me together? I'm all over the place. I'm trying to manage the kids, the husband, the career. I need some money, but I don't want to clock in and go to the job.
You
I
sound like
can't deal with the
me.
doctors. I don't want to deal with the CEOs. I don't even want to deal with the patients. Although I'm a nurse and I love patients, I don't want to deal with them either. What do I do? How you gonna help me?
Right. So that's where there's different strategies that first I'd like to say you need to determine like what are your passions and what are your strengths and how can we mirror those two together to figure out then what kind of nursing role can you do that's a non-traditional nursing role because we're also thinking this is not going to be hospital nursing roles. These are going to be non-traditional. This can be in healthcare technology. This could be in content like Bree does. This could be care management, working for payers. A lot of these roles could be remote positions too. And this is the new day and age where a lot of nursing roles now have become remote.
Yeah.
And
So
it's
how do I figure out what my strengths and my passions are? Like I am so
okay.
lost.
So
I took a whole bunch of tests, like a whole Myers-Briggs test, spiritual gifts test, learning
there's a
test.
number there's different things that you can do. There's self-awareness exercises, of course, you can do. I always talk about journaling and you can there's a self-awareness exam or test that I like to do that is more like a passion skills inventory where you write out 3 columns and one column is going to be all of the passions that you have, like, and you get as expansive as you can
Yeah.
and write everything out. It doesn't have to be clinically related either, anything.
Yeah,
And
let's
then
stop right there, Jen. Let's stop right there. You know why? Because I asked in the chat, if you guys are paying attention to the chat, put your comments in there. I asked in the chat, what are the nurses' passions? And what's interesting is that even when I work with clients and my different clients, I ask them to make a list of passions, and everybody put one thing. And if they didn't put one thing, they put a nurse related thing. And I'm like, well, you gotta have passions outside of one thing, and you gotta have passions outside of nursing because before we were nurses, we were just regular people, y'all. We were regular old people before we went through the slave process of going to nursing school and working for the hospitals before they indoctrined us with all of their beliefs. We were just regular people. So what do we like to do when we're not being nurses, right? What are the things that make us up as people? I'll let you take Jen expand on that because I think that we miss that a lot of times and we automatically go to when we talk about strengths and weaknesses and career, we automatically go to the thing that we do the thing we do as our career, like
right.
what we should say.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I say. Like there's so much more to you than just what you do as a nurse. For instance, one of my passions is traveling. I absolutely love to travel. And I've always told people if I could, I would travel and then write about it. That's all I
Yeah.
want to do. I just want to go around the world, travel, and then write about it because another one of my passions is writing. So, or even animals. I have such a strong passion for working with animals. And before I became a nurse, I was actually wanting to become a veterinarian.
Yeah.
You're going to have all these other different passions, but it's like how you can mirror like some of those passions then with what your skill set is, and then determine actually, okay, you know, yeah, I traveling, maybe I could be a travel nurse or but writing, you can learn how to write patient education documents or write for marketing. There's so many different avenues you can do with writing. So that's kind of where you want to start with, at least. This is like the beginning stages of, okay, let's write out all your passions, write out all your skills. And then also, like, what kind of specialties do you like to work with?
Yeah.
So do you like chronic care management? Are you into surgical? Or, like for me, I was a PACU pre-op nurse. So that was my love. And so
we're getting some better answers now. We're getting some better answers in the chat on these passions. Yeah. So I have given Jen the okay. I don't think she's finished it all, but I'm gonna ask you to talk about something that I had not heard of, and I think I'm pretty educated, y'all, but I had not heard of human design analysis as it relates to finding your strengths and your passions and who you are created or most adapt or most apt to be as a person. And so Jen, I'll let you explain what that means, because I think it's the most, out of everything we have on our agenda to talk about today, I'm being very selfish because I think it's the most exciting thing. I've also encouraged Jen, I think this should be like the one service offer that she offers, because I don't know of any other nurse coaches that are offering such a service. And I would love to know, I think she would love to have you guys' input on this once she talks us through it.
Yes, and has anyone heard of human design? Like, show of hands, anyone? Okay, so this is a methodology that I discovered about 3 years ago, and just a little bit about
Kenya said yes.
Who has?
So Kenya said yes, and Bridget says yes.
Yay!
Really quick,
awesome.
Kenya, before you tell it what it is, Jennifer, hey, Kenya, can you come off mute and tell us what your understanding of human design is? Human design analysis. Now, I heard of human design when I was in UX and UI, a UX UI program, right? So I thought that was all about the screens. And of course, I know what it means, but I had never heard it as an analysis of who I am as a person, right? Bridget, you too, if you can come off mute. If you guys can't, that's fine. I just want to know what this, I want to understand everybody's understanding of this before Jennifer educates us on what it is. Yep. Okay. They can't. Go ahead, Jennifer. Start.
No worries. So again, I came upon this 3 years ago, and I've started utilizing it the last 2 years. I've started doing human design analysis readings for people. And what it is, it's a tool that's like part science and part esoteric. So it incorporates a little bit of psychology, a little bit of quantum physics, a little bit of astrology, and your chakra system, like your energy centers, all in one. And so it's basically your very own unique blueprint on who you exactly are as a person. And everybody has their own unique blueprint. So what you do is, again, this is a little bit of astrology, because it's based on your birth date. It's based on when you were born, what time you were born, and then where you were born. And you plug that in, and then it's going to give you a body graph. And so there's different types. So you're going to have like the type of human design you are. And there's 5 different types. You can be a generator, you can be a manifester, a manifesting generator, a reflector, and then a projector.
Bridget's a manifester.
What now?
Bridget, she put in the chat, she's a manifester.
And Amanda, you're a manifesting generator.
Oh.
I just did Amanda's chart. Well, I'm doing Amanda's chart right now, and I'm going to give her whole analysis next time we meet on Tuesday. So I'm using her as an example on some of this, just because I was looking at all of her chart last night. Yeah. So manifesting generators, and I'm a manifesting generator as well. So we kind of incorporate a little bit of the manifester as well as the generator, but we're the multi-passionate people. And we're the ones that also, we get stuff, I wanted to say shit, but we get stuff done. We're the ones that are like, we get stuff done quickly. But we also have so many different passions in us. And so your human design makeup also will tell you what those passions and strengths are in your energetic blueprint. So you're going to have a strategy, like a different kind of strategy. And this is going to be like how you access your inner intelligence or your intuition. So we all have that. And then you're going to have a type of authority. And this is going to be like how you make those decisions that are in alignment with you and your energetic blueprint. And then you're going to have they're called profile lines. And if I could, there's a body graph that you would see. And in the body graph, you would actually see where your profile lines are. But this is going to be where your biggest strengths are as a person. And so for Amanda, her profile lines was it was called the regal authority figure. And there's several different profile line names. And so some of these strengths of her for her profile line totally match up with who she is as a person. And I've only known Amanda since January, but just like when I was doing her chart, I'm like, wow, this is so much like the person that I know. But some of her strengths are she's a leader, and she's very strong in heart-centered leadership. She also likes to be the center of a community. She does very well with running a tribe or a community of people. And also she has this very strong ability to influence people as well. So, understanding these type of strengths can then, also start to realize, okay, well, I can influence people. Maybe I need to be in relationship building, maybe, so these are, understanding these type of strengths can then, mirror what your passions are. And then you can start to realize, okay, maybe this is what I need to be doing in my career.
And we can stop real quick right here. I want you guys to know, I did not know this before 9:45 today. I didn't know anything about this. I just want you to know. And I thought it was fascinating before she told me the little bit that she told me, and she told me there's more to tell me. But I want to open up this conversation for discussion because Nurses in Tech is a community. I didn't know about this human design analysis before Nurses in Tech was founded or was even thought about, right? And so just hearing her today when she's telling me this right before our call, I'm like, it is like totally amazing, okay, y'all, in my heart, in my spirit, to know that I am doing something that I'm created and great at doing and didn't even know that that's what I was great at doing, right? How could that influence, just think about it, how could that help you better identify where you should be and where you could be in your career right now? Just personally, there's no right or wrong answer. I will say for me, just a little bit that I know, it literally, I have not that I didn't have a passion for what I'm doing, but I have a newfound passion with like this strength of knowing this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How could that influence your career decisions after this call? How is it influencing what you're thinking about your career while we're even on the call right now, if at all?
So I think that when you are actively working and doing something that makes you naturally expel those gifts that you naturally are created to do, obviously there's less anxiety associated with going to work every day. I think that's probably an obvious thing, but I know for me, once I started to incorporate the thing that I love to do, which is what I love to do since I was young, which is writing, it's made the biggest difference in just, waking up and going to work every day, because then I can write about what I've learned. It makes it more fun. And then I literally am able to influence others from that perspective in a way where I might not have if I just, got up and taught, because that's what I was supposed to do at work. And that was how they wanted me to express or teach others. rather than doing it the way I can best do it and the way I can naturally. It feels different when you are encouraging someone in a way that you were made to express yourself. So it makes a huge difference in just how you show up, how you communicate, how you do what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you think that something like this would be beneficial for you as a nurse, just type yes in the comments. I think that, you know, it is 2024 and beyond is a time for nurses to absolutely think about doing and being who we want to be and doing what we want to do in the way that we see that vision, to impact care and impact healthcare. And I am a firm believer that the only way the healthcare system changes is that nurses individually take ownership of their part in this process, in this system. And that starts with us all being innovators and creators of our own destiny. So that's like when you do something that you don't think about and it is in alignment with who you are, it doesn't feel like going to work, right? I've been working in virtual since 2018. 2024 is the first year that I can tell you I have enjoyed the virtual space. I have learned a lot. I've gotten a lot of skills. I've met amazing people. But in 2024, I don't work in the virtual space. I create in the virtual space because this is what I love to do.
Yes,
so it doesn't feel like work ever.
Right. And that's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
It needs to be something that does not feel like work. It's a passion. It's just like it's part of you. And that's one thing that I do also love about human design is there's a lot of times you'll, like when I did my chart, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing a lot of the stuff that, you know, I've always had questions like, is this really what I need to be doing? And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, yes, yes. But when you're living in your authentic self, like you are authentically living in alignment with who you are, that is when the magic happens. That's when, you know, you're the happiest that you can be. And that's when the abundance shows up. So that is another thing I love about human design is it really helps you hone in on who you authentically really are as a person.
Yeah. Let's open it up for questions. Any questions?
So is there like I know for me, I took so many different kinds of personality tests because I was just trying to figure out like, you know, am I in the right direction? Is technology something I'm really interested in? Is it just because I like computers? You know, did you find yourself over your number of years, even in the tech space, doing a lot of different kinds of personality tests? Was human design like the most revealing kind of thing that you took?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I did the Myers-Briggs. I've done I cannot remember what it was called, but an Enneagram, I've done that.
Yeah.
And then, when I found human design, I think because it's, you know, part science and then part spiritual. And I think, you know, we all are spiritual beings. And so I think marrying them, putting those two together, and I've always said, I always preach that, you know, science is partly spiritual, really. That's not what I agree with. But I learned so much about myself because not only, I mean, I've just touched this much of really what human design really is. It's so deep. I mean, you go in all the way into like your different channels, all of your channels, so they're called channels. Yeah. But what channels are open, and then that's going to show you what your unique gifts are. So for instance, Amanda's most important unique gift is her inner knowing. She is very honed in on her intuition. And so that's something you need to remember, like whatever you intuitively already know, you know, I mean, you already know, you have a deep knowing. So, but you can get very deep into, there's so many different gifts that you can uncover about yourself just through the human design. And, you know, they have certification courses that you can take to become certified in becoming a human design analysis reader. And, I mean, because you can get so deep. I mean, these analysis, you can do an analysis for 3 hours if you really wanted to. But you could also go online and then, if you want to get a high level, you can go online, Google human design. There's even where you can type in your birth date and you'll get your body graph, and then you'll get like all of the different pieces of it. And you might not understand it fully, which is where I could help you, but at least you could get an overview, a high level overview of exactly like, oh, this is my authority. Oh, this is my strategy. This is the type of person I am. Like I'm a generator, or I'm a projector. I'm a reflector. So, and then that can at least help you understand it at a high level.
Yeah. So Jennifer, really quick, you guys. So I just put in the chat a calendar link if you want to schedule some time with Jennifer. Make sure you let her know that you attended this live. Okay. So for the recordings, I cannot help you if you didn't attend live, only those that are on here live. And I really think that even if you can go on the website and you can do a free assessment, guess what? Having an assessment without understanding doesn't help you at all. Okay. And so one of the values at Nurses in Tech is that everything is human centered. That means that we don't charge people to be in our community. We don't charge people to work with us so we can give them online stuff. We charge them so that the human person is available. And so Jennifer has agreed to do a 30-minute consultation with you guys if you're on this live, to kind of help you walk through your human design chart and understand it a little bit better, and also understand how it can help to align you with redefining your career, where you are and where you want to go and where you want to be. So I love this part of the conversation, but I do want to move on to career exploration and identification, right? Talking about how you can understand what the nursing career opportunities are, and using your strengths and your passions. Once again, Jennifer, you can use me as an example, as a way to do that.
Yeah. So, once you've discovered what your passions and strengths are, and you want to start looking for these non-traditional nursing roles. I know throughout the years, I've had so many nurses message me on LinkedIn and ask me, how did you get into this? How did you become a product manager? What is a product manager? I get all the time, like, how did you get into healthcare technology? Or how did you get into IT? And so, because a lot of these roles that I've had, they don't have the name nurse in them. They're clinical application specialist, clinical content specialist, clinical consultant. I was a healthcare domain consultant. These are all, and even though all these names, they're still nursing roles. They're just not, they don't say nurse as the title.
Yeah.
And so that's where I try and tell people, like, so you can go online, you can go to LinkedIn, you can go to Indeed or whatever job board search engine you want to go to, and whatever interests you based on your passions and strengths, this is what you can find. And so I would just use those keywords and type in the search bar, clinical consultant or clinical content. If you want to be a writer, clinical content, medical writer, clinical writer, and then, all of these things are going to start to populate, and you can, see that a lot of these are different corporations and companies. And there's such a wealth of opportunity in nursing that I don't think that most nurses even know about, that you can do outside of the hospital. My best friend works for GE Healthcare she's in medical device sales. Yep. And she's an OR nurse, and she's making a killing money. But she also utilizes her OR nursing experience to teach and train. She does a lot of teaching and training for all of her different clients. So
who would agree here? I'm just going to tell y'all, this is one of my favorite things to talk about. Nurses could just about do any job that we want to do. Period. Honestly. Well, except for be a lawyer.
I don't think I'd want to
And
be.
even though only because that requires, to go to
There's
law
legal
school.
nurse consulting.
I was going to say, but to be honest, you guys, we could really do that too, because we're nurses, what we're going to do? We know how to go find the information, read the law, read the stature. I'm just saying, there's just about, probably can't fly a plane. Although if they give us a manual, we probably could figure it out how to fly this. Let me see if I can get this thing up off the ground. And, am I the only one that watches Chicago MD? Seriously, Maggie was flying a plane a couple seasons ago. But anyway, she's a nurse. So, so I said that to say this. I get asked this all the time as well. Like, what jobs are out there? And my answer to this question is always, whatever job that you want is out there. Because first of all, job descriptions and titles are a joke. Okay. Companies make up job titles and they make up job descriptions. Just go on LinkedIn and go to the job section and start reading the titles and the descriptions. You will be so confused. You will be like, what is this person? What is this job really? What am I supposed to do? And the problem with that is because a lot of times, so one of the, I think a key tidbit of information that all nurses need to know is this. It's not really about the job title or the company. It's really about your ability to sell yourself. It's your confidence in knowing what you know. And it's also your confidence in selling what you know. I know nurses that have been hired by tech companies and hired in virtual positions that had no experience at all.
That was me.
But they were able to highlight the skills that they had and the knowledge that they had and the experience that they had. So I found my safe space in tech sales. So I've worked in marketing and sales for the last 4.5 years. You won't find me. I don't work at a company. I've been a business development consultant for like 5 years now. Love it. It's the best thing ever in the life. Prior to that, I did some other roles in tech. But this role is the one role that I found myself being able to do what I do best, which is use my intuition to understand products and services and the people that the company we're trying to get those products and services to, and my ability to understand how to create pathways from the customer to the company with the least amount of resistance. And with, as Jennifer said, heart-centered communication, simple, everyday, common, caring language and processes that didn't make the companies feel like they were salesmen, right? So love what I do. Love it. Great. Right. And so as you start exploring, and I love the concept of exploration, right? So career exploration, I think a lot of times when we're looking for roles, at least what I encounter is that nurses are looking for a specific role that says that it's for you. And that doesn't exist. That doesn't even exist in nursing, right? The thing that really exists at nursing is they need nurses and you're a nurse. So they, how many people got most of their nursing jobs without ever having an interview?
Yep.
I did. I honestly cannot tell you one job I interviewed for except for the director of nursing job I had. Other than that, I don't remember one interview. And even with that, I showed up there with a referral. So I think it was a formality more than it was anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I left a 30-minute meeting with the director of nursing, Rob. Okay. My very first manager job, no interview. I was at work at the hospital I worked at. The CEO's mother was a patient of mine. I had the patient for like 3 days and the man was like, hey, would you be interested in the weekend nurse manager? And I'm like, of the whole facility? You sure you don't give me like a unit first? I'm like, you gonna trust me with a whole unit? Y'all, I was like 26 years old. Okay. I was like, I got 5 kids at home, but gosh, you want me to take care of a whole facility on the weekend? Okay. Guess what? I worked the hell out that job. Let me tell y'all why. Number one, I know now. I stuck to the rules. I cared about the patients. I set processes. I didn't play favoritism. I knew my stuff. Right? I was successful. I got promoted within 6 months to assistant director of nursing. They never even gave me my own unit, y'all. I still was like, can I get a unit first? My point being is that even in nursing, it's not written out for us which direction and which path we go. We literally create our own paths, or the opportunities come to us. It's the very same as you start thinking about, what do I want to do in this second or third, or if you're like me, maybe fourth phase of my life, of my career. You have to know clearly what you want to do. So even, working with the nurses that I work with now, one of the main questions, I don't automatically go to like, what are your passions and your strengths? I do get to that, but usually the first thing I say is, well, what the hell do you want to do every day? If you don't want to drive to work every day, why are you looking for jobs that require you to drive to work? I don't want to drive to work.
Me neither.
At all. Okay. Never. Never. Don't want to. I don't even want to go into work for like one day for like 1 hour. I don't want the expectation that you can even call me and ask me to come to the office. So therefore, I haven't worked at a company in Indianapolis and I don't know how long, and that's where I live, and I have no desire to. Because if I'm in Indianapolis, if I'm in Indiana, you might just be like, can you come to the... No, I don't want to come to nobody's office, y'all. I might seem petty, but that's just me. So you got to know that, right? What hours do you want to work? I don't necessarily care about hours, but I want to have flexibility that if I need to work at 1 a.m., I can work at 1 a.m. If I need to work at 6 a.m., I can work at 6 a.m. If I need to work at 10 a.m., I can work at 10 a.m. And nobody's going to be calling and looking for me or hitting me on the Slack talking about da-da-da-da, right? Do you want to work with people that are just in one region? Me, I want to work with people all over the world. I want to be able to talk to everybody because I want to know what's going on in other parts of the world and other parts of the country that I don't know about. So these are just a few things, like even before you get to the skills and the passions, you got to know, what do you desire? I will not work for a company that does not offer unlimited PTO. It is a requirement. I won't work for a company that doesn't have a 4-hour work week. That's 4-day work week. That's if I make the commitment to work for a company full time. I haven't worked for a company full time in about 4 years. I don't know that I would even remember to get up and log in. I'm exaggerating, y'all. I will remember. But still, my point being, you got to know what things you desire and what things you don't desire. So it's like, especially at this point in our career, everybody on this call for the most part have been in nursing for a while. So it's about, what do I want to do? What do I see myself doing? What would bring me the greatest happiness and the greatest fulfillment? And this may seem selfish, but it's okay to be a nurse and be selfish with yourself. Just like we talk about burnout over and over and over. When I hear the word burnout, I'm like, I hate that word. I don't want to hear it anymore, right? Because it's like, let's meditate for 30 minutes. Let's create a safe space. Let's create a meditation room. Right? I mean, okay, that might help, but let's talk about the reverse of that. Let's talk about the opposite. What about being selfish with who you are, being selfish with yourself? Because if you're happy and you're fulfilled, you'll provide better care, not just to your patients. What about your spouse? What about your children?
Yes.
Right? And then your patients. It's like this thing, like you became a nurse, so now everybody else in your life doesn't matter. Not even yourself, only your patients matter. That doesn't make sense at all. I mean, they call us first responders, especially during COVID, but in regular life, they don't treat us like first responders, because we are one of the professions, like firefighters and policemen, that put our families and ourselves totally aside to dedicate ourselves to taking care of complete strangers 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Right. So if we're happy, if we're fulfilled, if we're doing what really gives us energy and gives us life, we'll be better for our families. We'll be better for our patients overall. Right. sorry to go on that little tangent. I know that we have 10 minutes. I want to let Jen wrap us up with some nuggets to take with us. Please set you a time to meet with Jen on her calendar to talk about the human design analysis. I really believe it would be beneficial. And I think you guys should take advantage of it before she starts charging a whole bunch of money for it, you guys. And
Yeah,
then
right now I can do a 30-minute assessment for you for free. So just, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Take us away, Jen.
Yeah. So just a segue, you were talking about how, oh yeah, let's meditate and that's going to solve all of our problems. No, it's not. Yeah, meditation is great. I meditate every day. But if we really want to make a change, we got to take action. You've got to take the action. And the action is actually the hardest part of it all too, because it is all about your mindset. And your mind can go crazy and you start to think limiting beliefs and you get the imposter syndrome. So that's where you really need to find a community of like-minded nurses or people that you can rely on and bounce ideas off of and also motivate each other. And that's another reason why I got into nurses in tech, because it is all like-minded nurses just like me. And yeah, we're all different. We're all different levels of nursing. We're all different ages. We all have different specialties that we've been in, but we're all so similar in how we think and what we want for our lives. And so, I mean, it's just, I can't tell you enough about how amazing this community is. And so that is, being in a community like this is going to help you take action, what you want to do. And then the last part of it is just, there is such an importance in continuous learning and personal and professional development. So if there is a particular type of role that you want to get into, if it's healthcare technology and you don't know a lot about it, take some certification courses. They've got so many out there. You can go to Udemy and there's so many courses out there that you can take and get a certification, and then you can put that on your resume. And I'm telling you, companies love that. And then also personal and professional development. I can't stress enough how much you need to be reading and keeping your mind positive and right. And so read some personal development books, get on podcasts. I exercise every day or run. That's what I do, is I listen to podcasts and I make sure that my mind is right. And it's always thinking like, what can I do to up level myself? And so you have to do that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for Jen. Thank you for that little segue. I always leave nurses in tech out. Thankful. I am so thankful to Jen. I threw my calendar link in the chat if anyone wants to meet and talk about nurses in tech. I think we have a lot of nurses in tech members on here though. I am excited to say, did you guys find this helpful? You guys find this helpful? I'm excited to say that I have asked Jen to come alongside me and create a series on career transition and redefining what your career transition could look like. I'm excited to see what comes from that and what that could look like. I am excited and thankful for her yes to doing this with me. I'm excited about her business that she is launching and just wish you all the success in the world. And, I am the #1 cheerleader. I am all there for it and can't wait to the clients and the money and the abundance and the happiness just flows upon you so that you can help so many more nurses to really realize their potential and activate and actually take that action. So thank you guys for joining us today. We have 6 minutes, so I am going to leave us with some time for at least 1 or 2 questions. But I really appreciate you guys. Please share this with somebody. We are on YouTube, so we do have a YouTube channel. It's not the fanciest or the cutest, but your friends and colleagues can at least find the content. And always just connect with me on LinkedIn, connect with each other on LinkedIn. The mission of Nurses in Tech for the next 5 years is to help 1,000 nurses transition into a career in technology. We're hoping to do that sooner, but hey, it just depends on how much work and how much support that we get from you guys. And so help us to help others We appreciate you for joining today. And any last questions for Jen or myself or comments?
I never knew about human design analysis, so this is very enlightening. And I signed up for your
Awesome, great.
for your 30-minute course, so I'm looking forward to it.
I never knew either. Never knew. I after she told me, I told her that I think we should do another session where she tells me my reading. I will let her tell it to me in front of everybody, because I was so mesmerized. And it's hard to mesmerize me. It's like hard to shock me. I'm like, what? How did I not know about this?
Just wait till we have your one-on-one.
Yeah.
You'll be blown away.
Yeah.
You really will. It takes a lot to blow me away too.
Yeah. Well, thank you, you guys, for joining. Shoot me an email, a message. I'm sorry, a LinkedIn message if you have any questions. Thank you to Familiar Faces who we've seen. Kenya, I just feel like you are a part. I have seen you. Brianna, Bree, you are definitely a part as well. Thank you to our new, some of our new people who have joined us today. We appreciate you. If you have any questions that didn't get answered, please send me a message on LinkedIn. Thank you to all of our members that are here: Michael, Tammy, Anna, Patience, Bridget, Michael. I am looking forward to doing a live with you hopefully next week. And Bridget, I'm looking forward to doing one with you the week after. Tammy, I got something else in store for you, my dear. You've been hiding from me, but that is okay. I have not forgot about you. I'm coming to you. I got to ask of you, my dear. I do. And I need your assistance. So you guys have a great Thursday. Enjoy the rest of your week. I will send out our flyer for next week. Please sign up. Please share. Even if you can't make it, share with other people. We do these every Thursday. I think it's a great opportunity for nurses to come together and have just candid conversation about topics that we're passionate about that nobody else is talking about. So we got to have our own conversations. All right. So have a great Thursday. And thank you guys again. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you. Nice seeing you all.